Detroit in Black and White Eye Wednesday edition. Allan Lengel, co-founder of Deadline Detroit. Good evening.
Good evening.
Jim Nardone, our law enforcement expert. Good evening.
Hello, everybody.
And attorney Vanessa Moss. Hello there, Vanessa.
Good evening. Good evening, all of you on Detroit in Black and White, and good evening to all of you that are joining us on Detroit in Black and White. If you are watching the greatest show on these YouTube social media streets, this is what we're going to ask for you to do. Like, subscribe, and share. We're trying to get our subscriptions up. I know you guys have noticed we have a wonderful new introduction. We have some more. We have some sponsors now. We want some more sponsors. And the only way we'll be able to do that is if you guys continue to watch us and tell everybody about Detroit in Black and White. Good evening, Janet. Good evening, Kenneth. Good evening, Janet overall. And good evening, Karen Winston.
Okay, good evening. We got less than a week. Primary, early voting. I'll start with you, Vanessa. Has this mayoral race so far been a disappointment, been the way you thought it was going to be, or was it exciting?
Well, I'm not going to say that it was a disappointment. Gosh, that's a loaded question. So this is what I'll say is I didn't have any idea of what it was going to be. We knew early on that it was going to be a crowded field, but I would think that after a period of time, after you look at your budget, after you look at, and we know that polls don't vote, but after you look at those kind of things, I would think that those people who really say that they love the city of Detroit may want to look at it and say, you know what, maybe I should just, lay back on this, because what I'm afraid what's going to happen is we may get somebody there in office that we don't want. It looks just like the same thing that happened with Street Thanadar. You had all these people in the race, and he comes out as our congressman.
But we got one different thing, though, Vanessa. We got a runoff. And the congressional races, the way they gerrymandered the districts, whoever win in this predominantly Democrat a primary is a shoe-in. Same way with a lot of Republican districts. There's no competition in the general. So we do have that.
We do, but we also have a say as to who we want as the last two standing, basically. And the way it looks right now, we really don't know who the last two are going to be. We know at least one person is going to be there. So
you don't know that, though.
You just heard me say, so they say. Yeah. I talked to a few people today. As a matter of fact, I talked to someone a few minutes before we went on air, and they said, hey, the streets are saying that the person that is polling the highest, that person is a shoo-in. I was like, well, I don't know about that. I think it's going to be pretty tight. But we really don't know. We really don't know. So is it exciting? Not really. Okay. It's exciting that we have people from our community that's running. Yes. Is it exciting that we have people that we feel are well qualified to fill the shoes as the mayor of the city of Detroit? For the most part, most of them are, some of them aren't. And that's the honest to goodness truth. That is my opinion.
Okay. Allan?
You
have a video too you want to show?
Yeah. We'll play that. I will say, what we talked about in the beginning of this whole race was that we thought it would be Sontiel, Jenkins, and Mary Sheffield. And I would not be surprised if that ends up being the case. I think one of the things we've seen Chief Craig, who I think was a contender in the beginning, but I think people were somewhat didn't like it that he wasn't putting any of his money into the race. And at least according to the polls, I think he slipped quite a bit, and it doesn't look like he ran a particularly effective campaign. So I think I wouldn't be surprised Kinloch is still a wild card, and it's interesting. I think one of the things that I want to discuss, because we have a video of Kinloch responding to what surfaced last week about when he was 19 years old in 1993, that he assaulted his first wife, and I think they were living in an apartment in Southfield. He threw stuff at her. There was a butcher knife. He used the handle to assault her. And here, and so is that going to make a difference? I think his supporters have made absolutely no difference. I think some people are undecided. I did talk to one person who was still undecided, and she said, oh no, there's no way.
We elected a president that been convicted of sexual, all kind of shit.
Absolutely, but I'm just saying that for some people, it's going to matter absolutely nothing. And he finally on Sunday, they called it his birthday weekend at his church.
It was his birthday.
He responded to it.
You got all of these people and nobody gonna say nothing. But when you do open your mouth, you want to go back and talk about something that happened more than 30 years ago when I was a 19, stupid, undeveloped, and immature young man. I ain't never said I was perfect, but I'm not the only one in this race that's imperfect. But I'm not playing dirty politics, and I'm not going back digging up stuff on them like they digging up stuff on me. I ain't never said I was perfect. That's why for the last almost 30 years that I've pastored this church, I'm a second chance. So I tried to give as many second chances as I could give.
You didn't think that was heartfelt, Allan?
Oh, no. I thought it was very heartfelt. I mean, I'm just saying, I think, look, obviously, I mean, if you see the audience and you see the audience through, there's people standing and cheering and cheering him on. They're all for him. And I guess as political consultants, the question is, did he do the right thing? As you say, it's hard. You want to make it go away, and then you want to address it.
I think you put your arms around it, and that mobilized your base. Yes. I don't think he's trying to convince undecided and somebody else to vote for him. I think those people that said I might vote for the Reverend, that's who we want to come out and by the thousands. I think it's a risk, but I think it's a risk you take. Last week or two, and the people that put that out, shame on them, because when you want to start playing with dirt, you look in their closets and you're going to see a whole lot of dirt. And I'm just wondering if this is going to be all part of the general election. Jim, as a person that's from downriver and an observer and a political person, law enforcement, how do you view that video?
I think he should have left it alone. I think it was a misstep, personally. If he had something to say, I think he should have said it 6 months ago. Personally, I think he should have said, hey, I made a mistake in my life. I'm not proud of it. And it would have been a one-day story.
I don't think so. But why do you think it would have been a one-day story?
Because I don't think it was that significant of an issue. His supporters, he's trying to grow his support. He has his supporters. While he's trying to grow his support, the people that are on the bubble, like Allan was talking about earlier, they need to know the truth about you. They need to know who you are before they decide to vote for you. And if they find this out the last minute, I think Allan was.
But as happened, we had a candidate, a leading candidate that unscrubbed their internet of all the shit that they done, drunk driving and all.
Every one of them.
The criminals, etc.
Everyone? I'm not judging him based on his actions. I'm not suggesting that what he did should prevent him from being the mayor of the city.
That hurt her, has it? Has that hurt her? I don't.
Who are you talking about? Who was her?
Mary Sheffield.
What about her?
What about her? I say all the skeletons that's been in her closet. You know, it don't seem like they heard it.
I'm sincere. I don't even know what you're talking about. That's what I'm asking.
What, arrested for drunk driving?
Oh, I didn't know
Being
anything.
seen with people that bribe city officials.
Oh, that's
Sit on boards that never show up, for etc.
okay.
So
What was it you're saying, a drunk driver? I remember she was stopped for speeding.
Royal Oak.
In Royal Oak?
Royal Oak.
Yeah. All right. I can't
I
remember.
want to go. I want to.
Can I say real quick? I agree with
Absolutely.
Jim. I agree with Jim. It's best to push it out right away. Just say, and then 6 months later, it's like who even remembers? But when it comes
the media remembers, Lengel. You know that. You know, Allan. You know the media jumps on. If someone releases all the stuff they did as a young person and stuff, some of these people in the media, they won't let it go. It'll be every time you write a story or you talk about it, it's like a credit report. Here's the derogatory stuff right on the credit.
And you're absolutely correct. I mean, we had ML Eric on the show some months ago, and we've had Christine on the show, Christine Beatty on the show. They still talking about what happened 15 years ago. So you're right. The media does remember it. But as far as Pastor Kinlock is concerned, I think that those people that are going to support him, that supports him, are going to vote for him anyway. Those people that was on the fence or looking for a reason not to support him, they're going to use that. I personally feel like, I mean, he was 19 years old. I think it's very old, but I'm a different kind of voter than, say, some of the people that I've seen on social media that have said, you know what? Yeah, no, I'm not supporting him. And they probably were people that weren't going to support him anyway. But excuse me. But that, that's how they feel. I think he should have addressed it. And I think it was okay for him. I mean, when the story became a story, he addressed it immediately. As far as I'm concerned, he addressed it Sunday to his base, to the people that support him. So,
when we see where in the media where you had a person like Bill Bonds who was get caught driving 500 times drunk and do all kind of shit. L. Brooks Patterson, who almost killed his driver and never got out of a wheelchair, and is still reelected, elected, and hey, we got a guy that files all kind of lawsuits and shit, and now he done got his negatives removed from the media, and they call him a criminal justice advocate, even though he stole.
And he still owes money. He still owes money. And but this is the thing. Are we mad at him, or are we mad at the people that's throwing rocks and hiding their hands? I, for one, I'm angry at whoever it is that decides that. And you cannot tell me he's not a hired gun. I've said this before.
And I've been a hired gun. I've been a hired gun. And I leave my DNA
on it.
On the gun. But anyway, Jim, why don't you read some of the questions that we got?
First I want to go back to what Eric said. An event from 32 years ago is a non-factor, and I'm going to tell you, Eric, it may be a non-factor for you, it may be a non-factor for me, but it may not be it may be a factor for a domestic violence victim when she was 20 or 30 years old. We don't know. We don't know if it's a factor. It's not up to you or me to decide if it's a factor.
Well, he says his wife, mother-in-law, his ex-mother-in-law, member of the church. The ex-wife support him. So it's a non-factor. But
I agree with you. But it doesn't mean it's a non-factor for everybody. I don't think timing is
his problem. I think the Reverend problem is not that. I think we have people that's in the city that don't want to minister as the mayor. He probably got people at his church that says, no, I don't want him to leave. I want him to stay. And you got people saying, how can he run and be, he's going to be a part-time mayor, a part-time minister. So I don't have people tell me that, but then I had people tell me that if he can build a church up from less than 100 people to 40,000 or more, we need that kind of person on the 11th floor. So it works all kind of ways. It's a calculated risk. It's like calling an airstrike on your position while you're surrounded, and you say, "Well, maybe I can get out of this, and I'm gonna come clean." I don't think the average person is gonna get in a race and release everything out of their closet and say, "Okay, this is what I did from the time I was 5 to the time I'm 55." It's not gonna happen. You're gonna have to push it out. Why don't we read some questions? We got a lot of folks that asked.
You want me to read them, or you want Jim?
Yes, why don't you, Vanessa, if you don't mind?
Okay. Kenneth Powell says, salute to all the gods and goddesses. Janet overall says, good evening. Karen says, good evening. Janet overall also indicate that she shared. Karen Winston says the field is too crowded. Derek Henry says, good evening, family. Karen also says that the person is also on the election commission. I don't know who she's talking about. Jill Sheridan, a viewer, a regular viewer, she says, good evening. Trainee 05 says, good evening. Joe Cool says, good evening. Eric Brown, the galvanized base will dictate the result next Tuesday of a very low voter turnout. I don't disagree with him about the voter turnout. Kenneth Reed, greetings, Adolph, and your esteemed panel on this rainy Wednesday evening. G Money Hollywood says they are all scrambling at the last minute trying to head to the church houses. Perkins visited Bishop Drew's Shear's church, and he's hoping that he can get the Clark sisters and Bishop Shear followers to come out and vote for him. Power Org says, well, now, isn't Mary Sheffield a minister too?
Yeah.
Yes, she's been a minister since she's been preaching since she was 14. Karen Winston seems to think that it comes down to Kenlock and Sheffield. She said he has her vote. Edward A says good evening, and Sheffield is on the election commission. So,
by the way, I did look up Sheffield. It says in November 2011, she had a DUI. She said she just had a glass of wine, but she tested at 0.17.
Is that what kind of wine was that? Boone's Farm?
The answer, yes, she was arrested for DUI in 2011, failed the breath test, and registered at 0.17. So,
because does it make a difference?
Why is that news story? I mean, in campaign season, why wasn't that a news story? I didn't know anything about it, but
no, I didn't remember. I knew in Hamtramck she got stopped for speeding. Said she was working when.
Yeah, she wasn't working.
She was.
She was with some well-known people in the car. But is that a story now? Does that disqualify her to be the mayor? George Bush, the younger George Bush, wife killed somebody in a car accident. There's a college student or whatever. Does that disqualify her?
What was she running for?
What?
What was she running for?
Well, she was a person, she was Charlie McCarthy, and she was Edgar Bergen, and Bush was the dummy because he had an IQ of 12. Yeah.
Ted Kennedy with Chappaquiddick. I mean, he never. I guess that was in 1968. He was never able to run. He was never accepted as a presidential candidate, really. But they kept reelecting. They kept reelecting him as
and he was accused as a law student at University of Virginia paying somebody to take the bar for him. So let's take a quick break, and we come back and we continue this conversation. Detroit Black and White on our Wednesday edition with Jim Nardone, Allan Lengel, and Vanessa Moss.
Detroit, it's time to make your voice heard.
Hello, Detroit. I'm Janice Winfrey, your city clerk, reminding you that a very important municipal primary is happening Tuesday, August 5th, and your vote matters more than ever. And guess what? You've got 3 easy ways to vote. Vote by absentee ballot right from your home. And starting July 26th through August 3rd, you can vote early at any early vote center or vote in person on Election Day, August 5th at your polling place. It's safe, it's easy, and it's your right. However you choose to cast your ballot, just make sure your voice is heard. Every vote counts when it comes to Detroit's future. Your streets, your safety, and your city services are all on the ballot. Scan this code or visit us online to learn more. Let's show up, Detroit, loud, proud, and ready to vote.
Detroit votes August 5th. Your city, your future, your vote.
I'm Santil Jenkins. My story is a Detroit story. It's the story of a girl who hustled to pay for college, whose family worked hard but struggled to pay the bills, who faced stage 3 breast cancer and beat it. That's why I'm running for mayor, to ensure no Detroiter is left behind.
As mayor, Santil Jenkins will invest in our neighborhoods. She'll make our communities safer and put people over politics. Santil Jenkins, Detroit's next mayor.
Okay, we're back. Someone said that Adam Clayton Powell was constantly elected as a minister. He had 7, 8 people in his D.C. office, have about 6 or 7 in his Harlem office. You can manage that. Senate the same way. You got Warnock and representing Atlanta. He goes back and preaches a sermon every Sunday. So this is a city. This is every day. You got thousands of employees, appointees, etc. So it's a different situation. Allan, you were going to say something.
I was going to say there is a distinction there. I mean, when you're, and I can't imagine that if he's still preaching and you're going to have 7 churches, you're going to have crisis in whether it's with employees or congregants or whatever. There's a lot going on there in 7 churches, and it's like impossible if you're still there even on Sunday. I'm sure you can't 100% remove yourself. At the same time, the city, it's insane. It's like running a major corporation with it's so many people, so many moving parts. You got to be totally focused on that, I think.
Vanessa?
So I do believe, as Allan pointed out, there is a distinction. And, being a congressperson or even a senator, U.S. senator, is completely different than that of running a city. And running the city is completely different than being a pastor of a church. It's 2 completely different entities. You're talking about a governmental entity, and you're talking about a 401c, a nonprofit. 2 different things. And I'm not saying that he's not capable of doing it. I'm just saying there is a distinction there. So when you start, and I've heard a lot of people compare Pastor Ken Locke to Adam Clayton Powell to Senator Warnock. 2 different beasts. So, we'll see Tuesday what happens. I just think it's interesting. Like I said, now, you've told us about Mary Sheffield, which clearly was a news story, but why hasn't that been out there? Why haven't the media had a microphone in front of her face and talk about her drunk driving case and her speeding tickets and that kind of thing? Listen.
It's the presentation. It's a presentation. It's like a fine dining. It's how you present it, and no one has presented it. And listen, people love the last minute attacks, etc. I love it too. That's what people play the game. But once you open up Pandora's box,
absolutely.
It gets to be dirty. Even in this race, we haven't really talked about the issues. Jim, as I look on TV and I see these little kids getting killed in their house, at playground, all this stuff, and it really, all I've been hearing from most of the candidates is affordable housing. We're going to continue to do this and do that. But nobody has really come and say, damn, how we going to get a handle on this? And I see Todd Bettison, our friend, on TV, a one-man wrecking crew who says, you know what? They went and found the person that shot these 4 people, who had to kill 2. It isn't crime to be at the top of these.
I don't think so. I think it should be at the top of the list. First, thanks, Miss Sheila, for your comment. I appreciate that.
I was going to read that. Yeah, read that.
And G Money's talking about, and this leads into your question, Adolph. G Money's talking about Mary all the way, and they're going to have a celebration and have a little Boone's Farm, and he thinks she has a rap on this. You know, I look at. I agree with G Money, and I'm going to tell you why. It feels like for us old timers, I'm going to say, it feels like Secretariat's so far ahead. She has the organization, she has the money, she has the back, she has Hollywood, she has. The point I'm going to make is this: the race starts on Wednesday. The race doesn't start this week. The only chance that she has of losing is if we get one of those top candidates that comes out with barrels blazing. Speaking of barrels blazing, and has a chance to knock her off. The election this doesn't start until Wednesday. And if it's
I've been there, done that, and I've seen the elections where people have been celebrating. G Money, you was a kid, bro. If you don't remember, I've been there where people premature celebrating, and this is the general. Enjoy yourself on primary day.
Tuesday, yeah.
Back to crime. We only have the crime that we'll allow. That's really the bottom line. It sounds easy.
So you saying it don't matter that these kids?
I don't think it'll have any impact on the election.
That's
and you know what? I hate to say this, but I agree with Jim. I don't think it's going to have any impact on the election. And you know, we hear these candidates talking about affordable housing. I don't even know what that means. Affordable. Who are you targeting? It's just, as far as I'm concerned, word salad. But more importantly, how are you going to pay for these things? You're talking about jobs, and you're going to get people jobs making $35 an hour. How are these things going to happen? And they'll say, and I've heard quite a few of them say, well, look at my plan. Your plan is a bunch of words. We need to know, where is the money coming from? Where are the resources coming from? When you talk about crime, how are you going to attack crime? I don't think there's an answer to that. Really don't.
So we, the way some of these people are saying, we elect a person that never had a real job before, that got on the city council, can't answer a fucking question, they can't tell you certain things, blow off committee meetings. Oh, so that's our mayor. Who's going to be running the city?
We're not defending her, Adolph. That's not my role at all.
No, I'm not talking about you. That's your opinion. I'm talking about folks that I run into and say, Mary all the way. I say, name 5 things that Mary did. Name it.
Somebody on the show that named 5 things.
What is it?
I don't know what he said. It was your friend. He was on the show.
Yeah, right. Go ahead, Allan. Go ahead.
Well, I just want a couple things.
Michael, whatever his name is.
Oh, listen. He could name 5 things. Go ahead.
Janet overall says again, what is affordable housing? I think we've seen what affordable housing. I mean, affordable housing can be $1,000, $1,200 a month. It's affordable compared to what we're seeing. You know, some of the new buildings that are coming down, like on the riverfront, it's like $4,000 for an apartment. So yeah, $1,200 is affordable, but you've got to have a job. You've got to have a decent job to be even paying $1,200 or $1,400 or whatever. That may be affordable. The other thing I want to bring up real quickly is that it's interesting, the crime issue. You know, the Free Press issued an internal edict at some point saying we're going to tamp down our coverage. So I've been looking, and I've been almost thinking about doing a column. I've been looking at, we've had a 6-year-old shot hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by. We've had the 4 people in the gas station, and I'm looking for those reports, and maybe I'm going to go back and look at the Free Press, but is it, you're creating a world where, oh, Detroit is a nicer place because you're not reporting on the crime? Or, where's you don't have to be like Fox 2 is like crime, crime, crime. And then the Free Press is like, this is a beautiful world we live in.
Well, those your colleagues, Allan. I resigned from that movement years ago. Cause you know how that game is played, and why I disagree with some of the things that this esteemed panel is saying. I do agree with most of the stuff that we're talking about tonight, because you know what, you look at this election and you say, I see some good things, and I see some not so good things. I see some people that I can live with. If they got elected mayor, I'm not going to freak out.
Right.
But I know behind the scenes, you got people chopping away. They talk, I want to get rid of the land bank, but in reality, they want to control the land bank.
Right.
It's a money maker. This is how you raise money on it. You're gonna bring in celebrities and the Magic Johnsons of the world. Not that Magic Johnson's gonna come back here, but I'm just throwing his name out there. And they're gonna be able to make all these pronouncements of we got this like this deal, like Jerome Bettis sat on the land off of Jefferson, the old Uniroyal plant, for how many years? 10 years, 15 years.
Nothing.
Never can make it move. So they finally snatched it from him.
Yeah.
We gonna have pie in the sky deals. People coming to Detroit.
So here's the thing, though, and Adolph, you and I have had this conversation. We just had it last evening. Is that people want this job. You have all these candidates who want this job. This is going to be a really rough job because no longer do you have a blank check. Okay. So the question becomes, what individual is qualified enough to actually handle juggling, budgeting, making sure that this money in this pot is used for that, making sure that these bills are paid? Who really has that ability, capability, qualifications to do that? And I think that those people who are sitting and still trying to decide, I think you really have to do, and I'm going to use somebody who's at a forum, you need to do a deep dive. You need to do a deep dive into these individuals and see and make a decision whether or not are they just using word salad? Are they just doing sound bites? Or do they really have something going on here that they can really handle? Because this is not going to be, you can celebrate all you want, but the celebration is going to end and the hard work really begins. You got to roll up your sleeve and really get some things done. So, I think that we have to look at that. Yes, Allan.
I agree. It's great if people can do deep dive, but partly you can't do a deep dive unless the media is doing a deep dive, that there's resources for people to read about what the candidates stand for, who they are. And I don't know that we see enough of that for people. And look, a lot of people are just, they're not willing to do, they're just going to be like, I like this person. I heard them speak once. I met them at Easter Market, whatever, that's good enough for me. People don't invest the time usually to do. I think our panel does. We want to know, we want to make the best decision. But I think a lot of people are just like, I like Mary Sheffield. I like the way she talks about this, or I like Todd Perkins. I saw his sign here and I've seen his commercials. And but their commercial, it's all sound bites. We've been running beautiful commercials. Santil it's a great commercial, and Kinlock, they're great commercials, but do we really learn a lot about them? We get a little snapshot, and that's, for a lot of people, that's enough.
Well, Disco Ducks sold 5 million copies, an album. And it's the worst fucking song in the world. So what people say, they like something and they go with it, regardless of You can say, they're soundbite candidate, etc. Now, let me throw this question out there. The general, the top two, these forums. Now, are we gonna see a real debate, or are we still gonna see the same BS that we've been seeing when there was 9 candidates? Now we got
when it's the two.
Yeah, but listen, that don't change some of the things.
So I'm thinking you're talking about after next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one candidate who says that they're not going to play dirty politics. I don't think you have a choice. You're going to have to get down and dirty. I think
he might not get down and dirty, but that might be dark money on his behalf, or on her behalf, or on some of these people's behalf, because they got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You asked, is it going to? Are we going to have the fireworks and see some things?
Yes,
I think you've already started it.
I think we're going to see. I mean, look, Duggan as an incumbent, he had it locked last time. He said, "Screw it, I'm not going to debate," which I thought was wrong. You had, Coleman Young the second. You miraculously forced Duggan into debating,
and he beat Duggan's ass, but he lost. He got his ass kicked in the election. But that was the highlight of that campaign, because he came out swinging on Duggan, and because Coleman can talk the talk. Now, are we gonna get two people, one that can't debate and one that can debate? Who's gonna run away? Who's not going to show up?
I think we're going to have
strategy. Jim, what do you think?
I just want to say real quick, I think we're going to have some very intense debates, because it's up for grabs. Go ahead, Jim.
Go, Jim.
I was just going to go to perhaps one of the greatest athlete of all time is a guy by the name of Muhammad Ali. And when it came time to duck the big shots, what did he do? They called it the rope. And that's exactly what, if Mary Sheffield comes out of this with a mid-30s and the next person has 18%, she's not getting into that arena. Would you blame her? Would you if you were her campaign manager, would you go in there and fight this person? You're 20 points ahead.
I disagree with that, because that 34%, she may get 34%, but then we've got a whole bunch of other voters who are going to have to migrate to one or the other. I think that's going to be up for grabs. I don't think she's going to have a choice. She's going to have to get in there.
We'll see. I mean, I agree with. I understand there's going to be 60% of the electorate left. I get that, but you gotta look at the numbers.
Are they going to go out? Are they going to go out to vote? Vanessa, why don't you read some of the questions?
Okay, so we have Mr. Hold on a second. Our guest is trying to get on, and he's
okay. Let's go to a commercial. We
come back.
Go to the commercial, and we come back and hopefully have the guest. And as we go to commercial, I bid adieu to my panel. See y'all on Friday.
All right. I don't see the guests, but.
Hello, Detroit. The municipal primary election is Tuesday, August 5th, and your vote matters more than ever. You've got 3 easy ways to vote. Vote by absentee ballot right from your home. And starting July 26th through August 3rd, you can vote early at any of our early vote centers. Or you can vote on Election Day, August 5th, at your polling location. Scan this QR code and visit us online to learn more. Let's show up, Detroit, loud, proud, and ready to vote.
There was a time as a kid I lived in an abandoned house. My first sermon was to 26 people. Now we're 40,000 strong. I'm Solomon Kinlock. Direct action has been my life's work, delivering groceries to thousands of families in need. My plan, tackle poverty with training for jobs that pay $35 an hour. Build 10,000 affordable homes, and make every neighborhood benefit from investment, not just downtown. I'm Solomon Kinlock. Lift every block.
All right. Do you see? I don't see the.
Okay, he's. I just forward the link for it to him. I don't know
Okay.
what the issue is, but let me read some of these comments, and hopefully he'll just go ahead and come on in. So Adolph is gone until Friday. So we will go with. Uh, yeah, we already read that one. Eric made a comment about Roop Raj. He think it's interesting that Roop Raj, went in on Pastor Kenlock and the story, but Roop Raj was the same person who got caught soliciting someone behind Party City or Orchard Lake. But there's a distinction there. Roop Raj is not running for office. Roop Raj, I do think though, when you run a story like that, I would think that you would pause and say, maybe I don't want to, talk about things like that, especially since I have some skeletons in my closet. But, oh well. Par Org says, well, now, isn't Chef Mr. 2? We already addressed that. Edward A. said, good evening. G Money Hollywood said the registered voters who are running in this election are operating out of name, notoriety, and a little discreetment, which will yield to the majority of the votes going to Sheffield. That's the bottom line. When they asked what was Mary drinking, Kenneth Powell said Ripple. Dorian Denara says, Kenneth, none of these candidates ain't holding a candle to Adam Powell. And it's a major difference, which is something we've already talked about. Miss Sheila made an interesting comment. She said, who gives up God's purpose to get dirty in politics? No, thank you. We also have Mr. 1213. He said affordable housing, just a sell pitch for some of these candidates just to get in office. We also have Janet Overall. She said, again, affordable for who? Karen says exactly. Dorian says the voter who wants her drug dealing, car stealing grandson to get that $35 an hour job. That doesn't exist. Dorian says it's affordable if your driver's license originated in Birmingham. We also have a comment. Todd Perkins or John Barlow had those qualifications there. He's making that comment based upon something that I said about qualifications, as well as Santil Jenkins. We have a question here. Who's going to do that within a week when the city's electorate majority are renters? And I guess the comment is based upon me saying people really have to do a deep dive and look at these candidates. It doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, there's stuff out there, just like Allan was able to do an internet search about something. You can do that. We also have Lewis Thoreau. Sheffield has stayed at around 34% from the start. I think she will have a problem winning. Angela Beatty, she says, good evening. Chip Tracy, where you been? Whitney Clark was on the pulse. He might be coming back on soon. And Janice Sunlock says debates will mobilize undecided voters and keep the candidates in full view. So those are our comments. Is our guest there?
I'd like to make. I'd like to make.
Go ahead, Allan, but he's here.
Okay, let me just clarify. I was just looking up Raj. It said I think 2009, he had a DUI arrest. It wasn't solicitation. So.
Oh, okay. I stand to be corrected. And I will say this: I was repeating something that somebody told me. I didn't read it, so thank you for correcting it. But we now have our guest who's having a hard time getting on. He is running for Detroit City Council at large. He is on the ballot. He is the Reverend Gary Hunter. He also has a newspaper that people. He takes pictures. He's a wonderful photographer. He goes all across the country taking photos. We have Mr. Gary Hunter. Welcome to Detroit Black and White.
Good evening, Detroit Black and White, and to all the audience and all those that are new audience. Thank you for the opportunity to come share with you. And it's amazing how everybody wants to talk about affordable housing, but we're not talking about the deficiency of what we're calling affordable. I don't know if you know it, but 80% of the affordable housing that they've built with these small 600 square foot houses, apartments are insufficient to even say that you're building. I mean, something wrong when you building a house or apartment that 600 square foot, and the average house in Detroit is anywhere from, let's just give it the low ball of 900 to 15 or 1800 square feet. You want to take people and throw them in a spot of 600 square feet and charge them, listen to this, anywhere from 1,500 to 2,700 for 700 square feet, for 600 square feet. Where do they do that? What are you talking about affordable housing, Mary Sheffield? What are you talking about? You've been to all these ribbon cuttings. I mean, all of them. I mean, it don't make no sense. And let's talk about minority. You want to know why people are pissed? Coleman Young's whole fight was minority inclusion, minority set-asides, black police officers. Everything that he fought for is an embarrassment that his son's name is Coleman Alexander Young. He's talking about he brought 52 million, 90 million. You brought all this money in to give away to people that don't even live in the city, that are not culturally sensitive. What's wrong with this picture? What do we do with this? When you even mention affordable housing, how do you mention affordable housing if, number one, you don't have the space? And then after you get through with the space, it's not affordable.
Reverend, Reverend, let me stop you before we run out of time. Tell us what ward you're running in, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
What district, yes.
Yeah, what district?
We're in Detroit, so we don't have wards. We have districts. We have 7 districts and 2 at large. I'm running for at large, and the at large seats covers the whole entire city. It just would have been an insult to the 60 plus years that I've been here, and with relationships all over the city and nation, technically, to try to be combused into one little section of town. I want to represent all the people. I think we should have a program that, and you tell me if this don't make sense, attorney, a program where we take all these, we got 30,000 houses that nobody's living in. And then yet we have a woman whose 2 children died for no housing. What's wrong with creating an atmosphere? And hear me good on this. Creating an atmosphere where the children and the mother is put in an apprentice program. Give them a shovel, give them a rake, give them a saw, give them a nail, give them a hammer. Let them rebuild these houses that can be restructured. What's wrong with taking 10,000 of these houses and making them livable, affordable housing? If you don't want to give it to them, sell it to them for $10,000. Then we got all these out-of-town people who got 100 houses they're sitting on. We got a mayor so busy worried about what he's giving to his friends that he's forgotten the Detroiters. So when will Detroit be for Detroiters?
So, Reverend Hunter, it sounds like you're running for Detroiters. I have a question to ask you. Somebody asked me this the other day. With the population of Detroit steadily decreasing, right? Why is it that do you think that we should still have as many city council seats that we have? Because say, for instance, if you're in District 7, you don't have the same population that you had years ago in District 7 or District 5 or District 2. Do you think it's necessary that we should have all those seats on Detroit City Council? What is your feeling about that?
Well, to be honest with you, I just need effectiveness. I don't care if it's 10, 20, Chicago got right, almost like 40 something or whatever. The number ain't the issue. Whether or not they care about the people is the issue. And every time, I don't know if you know it, the districts just changed again. Every time there's a shift in the people and where they live, there's a shift in the districts. And so you end up representing almost the same amount of people because the people are shifted based upon the population or the district that represent the people is based upon just about the same thing. Let's say we got 600,000 people. Each one represents, I think, 100,000. So if it goes down to 5, then maybe we need to look at that. But I think right now we need open accountability. How is it? I don't know if y'all know this, but look it up. How is it that you cannot build a new house on a current lot unless it's the same floor plan of the previous house? New houses have to be built on 50 square foot houses. 50-foot lots. And Detroit has 30-foot lots. So don't tell me, Mayor Sheffield, you want to be mayor and you have not changed that policy. Ken Locke, you don't even have a clue that you need to be talking about, you're going to build a house, you're going to build 10,000 houses. And you don't know. We need to talk about changing the policy first.
Okay, so your platform is, could you tell us what your platform is?
My number one priority will be, number one, exposing what do the city of Detroit offer. You got all these programs. And the reason why friends and family get it, they don't tell nobody. It's a $25,000 home assistance program. By the time they tell everybody, all the friends and family got it. We're not in the, I got to have one of the largest newspapers in the country. I'm doing 12 states.
Tell us the name of your newspaper. Tell us the name of your newspaper. The Shot.
The Shot News.
Right.
THESHOT News.
Okay,
And so I'm traveling with the president. I'm traveling with the Congressional Black Caucus members. I'm the official photographer for the Congressional Black Caucus members. I'm bringing news, and they always want to know, Gary, why is it that Detroit don't support you with the administration when all of us do? It's racism. The mayor don't want blacks in power. We've got to change that. How is it that we got 8 black members on city council and they don't vouch for black businesses? They don't vouch for me, the Chronicle, the Telegram, or the Renaissance. Everybody that's got any form of news should be getting supported to get the news out. Tell me about the baby program where they'll take you to the doctor. Tell me about the other baby program where they'll give you free diapers and a free babysit. We got people struggling with no housing.
Right. So
tell me about where the housing is.
So, Reverend Hunter, I think 2 of our hosts have questions for you. So we're going to go to Jim, and then we're going to go to Allan. Jim, what question?
I'm good. I think Reverend Hunter, I appreciate your position. You're attacking the mayoral candidates, and I'd like to hear more about what you're going to do, because you're going to have to work with one of them if you're elected to the city council. So attacking them, I don't know if that's a great strategy, but I guess that's your strategy.
Well, he told us who he did vote for, basically. But anyway, go ahead.
Watch it. When you win, you've got to negotiate, and you got to work for the people. But we cannot afford to go with this go-along situation in this bully pulpit of the mayor no more. And what's happening right now is the city council ain't doing nothing. They're stamping, technically, it ain't the mayor and the council, it's the mayor with the council. And when we separate it, we give him the authority to be over the people, and the people elected us too. So I care just about as much as affordable housing as the mayor would. I care just about, probably more, about those 2 kids being killed by frost in a house where we got, in a city where we got 30,000 plus empty houses. Tell me where that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense. I think Allan has a question for you.
I do have a question, but before we do that, let's get to one commercial on the election. We've got to run a couple of those. So, Teresa, if you could roll one of the election.
Detroit, it's time to make your voice heard.
Hello, Detroit. I'm Janice Winfrey, your city clerk, reminding you that a very important municipal primary is happening Tuesday, August 5th, and your vote matters more than ever. And guess what? You've got 3 easy ways to vote. Vote by absentee ballot right from your home. And starting July 26th through August 3rd, you can vote early at any early vote center. Or vote in person on Election Day, August 5th at your polling place. It's safe, it's easy, and it's your right. However you choose to cast your ballot, just make sure your voice is heard. Every vote counts when it comes to Detroit's future. Your streets, your safety, and your city services are all on the ballot. Scan this code or visit us online to learn more. Let's show up, Detroit, loud, proud, and ready to vote.
Detroit votes August 5th. Your city, your future, your vote.
So, Reverend Hunter, I think Allan has a question. Then I'm going to read some comments.
Right. Reverend, as I asked earlier, just to give our viewers a little bit of education about your background, where you grew up, your education, and explain a little bit about the media. I'm curious about your it's called The Shot. Is that correct? The Shot News.
The Shot News. I'm the owner of The Shot News as well as the Detroit Times. I've been doing it for over 30 years. I'm born and raised in Detroit, graduated from Western High School, Shaw College, and Tennessee State School of Religion. I've been preaching 40-something years, pastoring almost 30 years. And the balance of most of my time has been spent almost primarily between politics and preaching. I worked for John Conyers for almost 15 years, sitting next to Rosa Parks, the legendary civil rights icon. Dr. Abernathy was my oldest son's godfather, who was the partner and comrade with Martin Luther King. I've been doing civil rights 30 plus years. I worked for Jesse Jackson. I worked for Maynard Jackson. I worked for Harold Washington out of Chicago and Tom Bradley out of LA. I'm known recently as the only independent to ever travel with a president for a full term. And I did 2 full terms as one of the White House correspondents with President Barack Obama.
Wow. That's quite an impressive background you have.
Yeah. So we have a couple of comments. And so, Reverend, if you can address some of them, I'm going to try to group them together. I'd asked a question about the size of city council. And Eric Brown pointed out that they redrew the district, but that really was not my point. G Money Hollywood says Detroit needs 7 seats. He said most of them are running for a steady paycheck and can care less for the people. It needs to be a 7 at best, but 5 will be sufficient to run a declining city. You also had Power Orgs. He says that you're right, Reverend Hunter, but he says he thinks you're scaring one of the co-hosts, Allan. By your
I don't think so. You can't
scare me. Hey, that's your style. I'm cool with that.
All right. We also have Dorian Denardi say a lot of the homeless people need hope. Growing food on your lot with a small house would be a good idea to change things. We got tons of vacant land to do this. Dewayla Boy said good evening. You also said Kenneth Reed says in all his years in Detroit, he's never seen an incumbent city clerk run unopposed in the primary. I wonder if that will be the case in the general. And we also have Day, who said good evening, and he said, "What's up?" Okay, so you have any response to any of the comments, and then we're going to have to wrap it up. You need to tell us how people can get in contact with you in reference to your campaign.
I'm a pretty much open book. My number and my email is on my paper, 313-442-6111. Just know I'm an open person, and don't call me with nothing crazy. I won't respond. People will tell you I will respond. Don't be talking about, he a preacher. Yeah, well then talk to me like I'm a preacher then. The bottom line is I'm a fighter for the people. I've always been a fighter for the people. When it comes to districts, I'm not even going to cry about that. And the city clerk will be unopposed because you only get to oppose her because it's a nonpartisan position in the primary. And then it goes to the general. And the other part of that is we've got to realize that if you vote as you normally do, you're going to get what you normally get. One of the things I want to do when I get in, it is a personality country. So what you mean, when somebody wins, people give more respect to their personality. You know, Attorney Moss, I go all over this country. I do mentoring groups. I speak. When I become city council person, I want to have a movement to get these mothers with their children to do mentorship. The shootings, killings, the stabbings is from the lack of guidance, love, and protection. They don't feel governed. They don't feel protected. A lot of them have been raised by unorthodox parenting skills. It has not worked. It is not working. We've got to revert back to respecting our elders, decency in the neighborhood, decency in the home, and decency in the public. We cannot continue with this chaos where you could be carjacked any day, robbed any day because your mama and your daddy is ignorant. We need to get to the source of this.
Well,
and if
Reverend Hunter, it is 9:30. It's time for us to go off the air, but we really appreciate you coming on. I hate that you didn't get on because you were supposed to do a whole half an hour, but we had some snafu with you logging on. But we thank you so much. Gary Hunter, running for city council at large. Is that correct? Running for city council at large.
Gary Hunter for city council at large. One with the Coleman Young heart, not the fake Coleman Young name.
All right.
Thanks, Reverend Hunter. Is that number right up there? Is that the number?
313-442-6111. If you really want a candidate that's going to fight for you, make it Gary Hunter.
All right. And we're going to wrap it up. We want everybody to join us again Friday evening at 8:30 p.m. We're going to have a guest on Friday evening. We want to thank the Reverend Hunter. We want to thank all of you guys that participated. LaShawn Jimenez, Day, Kenneth Powell, G Money, Cynthia Burnett, Cynthia Johnson, Karen Winston, Kenneth Reed, David Porter, Chip Tracy, Angela Beatty, I can't get all the names, Dorian Denard, Power Orgs, Kenneth Reed, Mr. Brown, Eric Brown, Deborah G. I don't know where Deborah Harris is. Jill Sheridan. Thank you so much. We will see you guys again on Kenneth Powell. We'll see you guys again on Friday. And thank all of those that are watching us on Facebook as well.
Good luck, Reverend.
Have a good day. Have a good night.
Good night, and thank everybody. I appreciate you. I pray that we all have peace, good health, and wealth beyond measure, but know what to do with it.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.